Hi everyone, quick update on Teal discovery. Teal is a feminine stage, and what I discovered about the feminine is that they're calmer. So you had turquoise, which was the calm and stillness, and you had coral, which disturbed that stillness. Then you have teal, which once again calms down, but they're still active. They retain the activity of coral, but they in terms of leadership, in terms of networking, well, wanting to get close to people, to turn them into leaders, to turn them into higher conscious beings. But they're doing it in a much more tolerant, sensitive, and calm and slow-paced way. Meaning, once you reach stage teal, there's no more rushing, which means you won't want to rush to the next stage. They're not trying to get. It's really the masculine stages that try to rush, which explains why orange wants to rush to yellow or turquoise or so on and so forth. And the first thing that an orange will say when they're introduced to spiral dynamics is, I'm stage, what's the highest stage? Highest stage is Mandarin, Aubergine, whatever, I just saw that. I'm that. And we're going to say, but there's only one in 7 billion people. No, I'm that. Wait, but 10 other people, orange people, also said that they're Mandarin, Aubergine. Oh, you know what? Then I'm the one less than that, because orange wants to rush the process. It's a masculine trait. So I'm not going to say this is going to go into Aubergine. I imagine competition will change as we evolve. Unless this is a hobby. If it's your hobby to grow, it's a hobby to develop, chances are you'll be able to slow down. Also, someone who wants to grow, it's possible that a person could be teal and only be there for a week and then move on to the next stage, simply because they have an ideology that growth is good. And that, so it's not like it's a fixated thing, but I know with myself is that as I inch into teal, so far I calculate around 4 or 5% teal, that I'm starting to slow down a little bit. Like, I don't need to rush anymore. This is fine. I also noticed that teal and turquoise are similar, is that both view integration as necessary and good. Coral doesn't see integration as the necessity. He likes integration. That's what life is about, integration. But not to the point of slowing down. If it's slowing down, no, that's not good. You're missing the point. And then once you get into teal, you say, it's fine to slow down. You can be whatever religion you want. I'll help you grow. And something, just a point on that, as I mentioned earlier, they'll probably be biased towards higher conscious beings. That's my prediction. One of the flaws with teal is they'll be biased towards higher conscious beings because they have a craving for leadership, for interchangeable leadership. That's something that I've just picked up on with all my videos that I've been looking at. Is they want leadership. They want a community of leadership. That's the new phase of wanting leaders. They have a higher understanding that other people are themselves, but that the flaw in that is as stated. What did I say? I don't know. Sometimes I just lose my train of thought. So the masculine trait and the feminine traits, they have similarities. One of them is rushing versus stillness. And once you enter teal, you enter into stillness. It could be that Aubergine rushes it. I don't know. Aubergine or Mandarin, depending on different people are labeling these things different things, and we'll see what it ends up getting categorized as. Mandarin is mainly for the spiral dynamic spectrum, and Aubergine is for the spiral dynamics and integral. The major difference between integral and spiral dynamics is integral is less linear in foundations. They view that the growth process it happens much less linearly, so therefore they're open to things like activation in higher stages before lower stages. They're open to mystical experiences activating at lower stage. They're open to that discussion. They have a less linear thought process to the process of development. So I think both are accurate in their own regard. You can make sense out of both. There really is no major difference except for the fact that one views the progression a little faster, which is spiral dynamics integral, and one views it a little slower and more systematic. That's it. If someone has a question between the difference, that's it. It's not so complicated. I like making it simple for people, because they give it all this charts and the arrows and this and that and different colors. No, it's just two different ways of looking at it. One involving more mystical, psychic experiences, which are reality, and one says that the paradigm is more linear, materialistic, and coherent, which is obviously a simplification that you start to see as a little bit dogmatic once you enter into stage coral. Because in stage coral, you have psychic abilities, you have intuition, you run on intuition. Your whole life is intuition. You understand people intuitively. You create systems intuitively. You disrupt systems intuitively, and you have no problem with that. And you're not thinking about it so deeply. And you have a ton of thoughts. But basically, it's stuff that you can write down. With Spiral Dynamics Integral, it's more spiritually, it's more you and me are one type of discussion, and that everything's leading up to that realization. That's also true. I just think you can have that discussion in regular Spiral Dynamics. So yeah, basically. And I imagine as you go up the Spiral Dynamics one, you'll have more and more experiences because the materialist paradigm is reaching the spiritual paradigm, spiritual realities. Also, I feel if I stayed in Spiral Dynamics Integral, I'll end up becoming too spiritual for the world. So I'd rather stay materialistic, so that because I'm a naturally abstract, spiritually minded person, I'd rather just have me balanced out this way. And then when I have the mystical experiences, I'll apply it to what I'm perceiving, which is Spiral Dynamics. And your mind will make sense out of it because the mind is solidifying the very evolutionary process, which means it's interplayed between everyone involved. But to understand that concept, you can see why you need to investigate into Spiral Dynamics Integral, because the interplay becomes paramount. Also, we'll just end it here, but to get back on track, is Teal. Teal is definitely more calm and more interested in high consciousness, and they'll probably have a less of a sense of self. Coral has a sense of self, but all their thoughts are fueling a sense of urgency. Like, there's so many things that we need to do, but their heart is very calm. So they're like, coral might get confused for a psychopath, or red gets confused for a psychopath because they're so mindless. But a coral can confuse for a psychopath because they have so many thoughts, and they're not afraid to do things that push the envelope, as some people use that expression. I don't know why. I just say whatever comes to my mind sometimes. That's like a little outdated. Like, I don't know who's telling me what to say, you know. But that's a Spiral Dynamics Integral discussion. So people in Spiral Dynamics Integral will probably feel a little bit impatient about the linear nature of regular SD. And they just may be waiting around for a community of people, like in higher stages, higher tiers. And in Spiral Dynamics, you're not really waiting around, because you kind of materialize. You make the paradigms. You make the chart more materialistic, which is a good thing if you want to relate to people and have people understand your content. So a lot of this goes into separate topics, so perhaps I'll end it here and make a video on Spiral Dynamics Integral.